That comment was left on a video that I did yesterday about Elon Musk encouraging Donald Trump to pardon Derek Chauvin, the police officer who was held primarily responsible for the murder of George Floyd in the spring of 2020, which gave rise to the Black Lives Matter protests during that summer. That sentiment was then echoed by Ben Shapiro on his show, and I made a video, admittedly, from the perspective of a white guy who's a lawyer. And my perspective was Derek Chauvin was convicted, the most serious charges that landed him in prison for the rest of his life. He was convicted on state charges in a state court, and a president can't pardon somebody for state charges. He can only pardon on federal charges. There were some follow-up federal charges for violating civil rights and things like that, and Trump could pardon Derek Chauvin on those. But being that I'm a white guy, and I came at that from the perspective of a white guy who's a lawyer, I woke up this morning to a lot of comments on that video from Black Americans. And the one thing that I did not think of is that this talk of pardoning Derek Chauvin is bait to get black people out into the streets, to be confronted by police officers who Donald Trump thinks should have immunity, and so that Donald Trump and these police officers can beat and kill black people in the streets. And Donald Trump can point at that and say, look at this, I don't have any other choice but to impose martial law nationwide. Admittedly, my perspective in that video was limited to my particular life experience. It did not dawn on me when I made that video. I got a lot of comments like this, and I saw a video from Tabitha this morning. Tabitha Speaks Politics. If you're not following her, you really should be. And she said it explicitly. She's like, this is bait to get black people out into the streets. And I hadn't thought of that. I hadn't thought of that. But I think it's entirely accurate. I think it's absolutely entirely accurate. I think Donald Trump is confused 6 weeks into his presidency that there haven't been mass nationwide protests every day, people in the streets protesting against him and what he's doing. And I think this talk of pardoning Derek Chauvin is a way to light a fire under certain communities in the United States to get them out into the streets so that Donald Trump can turn loose police officers, National Guard troops, the United States military on American soil as a way to get to a point where he can declare martial law in the United States. So thank you for that comment. Thank you, Tabitha, for your video. And this is, again, it's like, this is one of the reasons why I love TikTok. Because people with different identities than mine and different backgrounds than mine bring different perspectives to circumstances that don't necessarily dawn on me right out of the gate. Because, it's just like, I'm just a dumb white guy who grew up in very segregated circumstances in Ohio, So I appreciate your comment and everybody's input on that, but I think you're absolutely 100% correct.